Today is the 28th day of April 2020, and I shared some videos of what I've been doing concerning Bakers Bay. Bakers Bay has been one of the most corrupt industry development in Abaco. They got away with everything. And because Kai was speaking so much truth about the corruption in Bakers Bay, they organized a task force to put some drum up charges on me and send me to jail. That took a soldier's heart. I don't know why I continue to speak, but I know it's not only me, it is the universal God and Jehovah God that lives within me and guiding me, because it's never been about Kai Mills. It's always been about my people. And the Bible is very clear. They don't understand. Most of them don't want to understand. But I've always tried in my own way to educate. The video is all about education. And I remembered before this Hurricane Dorian, I had countless videos of Bakers Bay vehicle going onto the tarmac, picking up people, didn't go through customs. All they do is give customs or immigration $100. And the wine, they bring in $3,000-$4,000 of these wines. And one, the custom officer, them the greedy fellas, girls, got $100 from going on the airplane. They could bring in $3,000 worth of things without paying duty. That's so lucrative and how unwise our government officials were. One prime minister said in my presence at the airport at the FBO, if you value your job, you'll be careful how you handle Bakers Bay passengers. Well, of course, you know what that means. The customs officer can't do their job the way they want to. You imagine, at the time, Perry Christie and Hubert Ingraham were prime minister of the country, and they will get off the airplane and walk into the terminal. Bakers Bay people, when they're coming, the cars went to the airport, onto the tarmac, to the airplane, and picked them up. When they were leaving, it had to be illegal. They would not go through customs, so nobody knew what they were bringing into America. They would jump onto the airplane without anybody seeing what they were taking on, and they would take off and go. That couldn't happen anymore with COVID-19, but that was the days. And interesting enough, the person that was driving these people was one of the guys that are trying to get the PLP nomination for North Abaco. Bakers Bay employees, listen to Kai Mills. Bakers Bay was so corrupt and had so much influence with our prime ministers that you guys couldn't even join a union. If you join a union, you had to resign from Bakers Bay. They broke all the rules. 500 people didn't have nobody to speak for them. Only the lady responsible for human resources, and you know, she was colorblind. She did nothing to try to help the workers. And the owner of Bakers Bay, Michael Melvin, got properties all over the world. He didn't know what's going on. The managers, they saw that the black Bahamians were not together, 500 like crabs everywhere. So what they did, they brought in their friends and they told their friends what to ask for, and they got employment right away. Nobody there questioned Bakers Bay. We were so happy when the government changed. Even immigration officers was happy that Dr. Marshall couldn't just juke papers in there and give anybody work permit. Well, guess what? The first week after the government change, business as usual, from one prime minister to the next prime minister. It was their time to make money. Now it is your time, Dr. Minnis. Nothing has changed. You imagine the driver from Bakers Bay were to get the nomination for the PLP. What would change if Bakers Bay was to reopen? Will you have anybody to sit at the table? Remember Darren Henfield? They don't like when I call his name, but I got to call his name because Darren is the minister and my member of parliament at this time. Has he ever spoken on your behalf since being elected? He went out there one day. It was organized for him to go there one day, and he went on a Saturday when most people weren't there. Haven't been there once since. 500 persons being sent home. Many of them were there for over 10 years, didn't get their due date to date, still trying to collect their money. Nobody to speak on behalf of so many. Kai Mills have been doing so for over 10 years. You imagine, 10 years, Bakers Bay have been driving their vehicles with the same driver that want to run for the PLP, and they didn't have a disc nor a license for 10 years. Lo and behold, Marvin Dames came down, and I had a video with him in the Friendship Tabernacle Church where he said what I already knew, that anybody that is driving a vehicle on the roads of the Bahamas, including him and the Prime Minister, and doesn't have a disc on their car is breaking the law. And any police officer who's allowing this to happen is not a police officer. The law has to be for everybody. Well, after that video that I shot with Marvin Danes in the Friendship Tabernacle Church went out, the next day, after 10 years, Bakers Bay got a disc on their car, but they still didn't have a livery license, a bus license, a tour operator license, nor a taxi license. They still continue to go on the ramp at the FBO, to take the people at the boat, and to illegally run a ferry service from Marsh Harbor to Bakers Bay, and the normal fee was $25 a head. Bakers Bay was charging the baby $160. Any person that came on the illegal boats that Bakers Bay had to pay $160. Neither one of them boats had a ferry license, a tour operator license, no license for over 10 years. God, the universal God, had to step in and to shut it down. But it got worse. This Prime Minister organized a special ministry for Brent Simonet. We call it the Money Grab Ministry, the Great White Shark. The first and the biggest business that they did. He was there responsible for bringing investment. Well, guess what Brent did? He took investment from Albury's Ferry and sent 18 people home that had mortgage, kids to go to school, in private school, because they were making some money. They didn't think about that. They sit down at the table and offer themselves a contract in the amount of $25 million and send 18 of Albury's Ferry workers home. That is what Kai have been speaking about and still speaking about to date. To speak like I speak in Abaco was a crime. You were put before the magistrate every week. When you go in there, you will be the last one. Every time I went to traffic, I will be the last person every day. I'm a taxi driver. And it was thought out call Kai name last. Kai will sit in court from 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock for traffic certificate to say whether I'm guilty or not. Every time. And I asked that question, why? I am an elected person. All the illegal Haitians would be put before the court while I'm sitting there, and lo and behold, there will be nobody in the court when they call Kai name. You are charged for picking up and dropping off your guests in a no parking area. There's no signs on the road, on the wall, to say I was in a no parking area. But Kai will be charged for doing so 15 to 20 times every month. It seems like every week I was before the court because they're trying to break me. What they didn't know, that Kai was never a pony. I am a thoroughbred. It is hard to break thoroughbreds, and especially if a thoroughbred knows his rights. Now, look what's happened. Baker's Bears send them all home, but no security. All of them that had mortgages, big fancy house, has to start from scratch. Kai still cares. Kai is still here. Kai is still trying to be a representative. And God knows, if it happens, you will have the best representation that you had in 35 years. We had 35 years of Hubert Ingram. We will have 5 years of Darren Henfield. That is the 40 years that Jesus spoke about being in the wilderness. North Abaco has been in the wilderness for 40 years. Kai Mills will be the one to bring you out of the wilderness. Kai cares. That's why he's here. And we're still seeing the back of our MPs. Kai cares. You're live on WCAY.